First, a brief comment on free will. I think those who claim there is no free will, it's an excellent excuse to do whatever they feel like doing without being held responsible. Because if I had no free will, I did it, but it's not my fault. So I think that free will, no free will, I think is a ridiculous position.
Well, you know, I agree with you, and the reason I decided to, of course, this is more than just free will, but it comes down to free will. The reason I decided to make a presentation on this is because this movement is moving on. They are finding people that agree with it.
Which side? Which side?
The
Which
no
movement?
free will.
The no free will.
Well, I mean, free will is accepted by all societies and cultures. I mean, you know, everything we do is based on that. I mean, you can't think of anything in life that you do or think of that isn't influenced by the fact you have free will. But if you say there is no free will, you're going to have to explain how all those stimuli that are at work, how they do that. And you know, and of course, Sam Harris doesn't try to do that. He has to come to this decision because he has a prior commitment to atheism and nothing supernatural. And when you do that, it goes to free will, no free will. And I agree with him. If you go that way, you have no choice but to go there. And the people who are getting backed up against the wall on it are saying, oh, well, you know, I've heard Richard Dawkins talk in circles for about 15 minutes about it without saying whether he believes it or not, because he knows where it goes. Just 1 second, Bill. Yes, Al.
And the second point I want to make to address the issue that you made, that what about the poor children in Africa that never heard of Christ? What kind of God would condemn them to hell or whatever it is that you believe or don't believe? And the Bible addresses it very easily. Now, some people say, well, you can't quote the Bible because I don't believe the Bible. Well, that's fine. I came as an adult to believe in the Bible when I was 33 years old. So I wasn't raised in it. But here's what the Bible does say about what about the poor savages in Africa or any place else. In the book of Romans, it addresses it right in the first chapter. It says that people all around the world, throughout the ages, all they have to do is look at the heavens, look about them, and see the unbelievable things that God has made. And basically, it says the heavens speak of that there is a God. The depths, you look at the variety of animals, that speaks there is a God. But the Bible also says that those people who chose not to believe, know that, yeah, I see that, but they chose, nah, I'm not going to believe. And basically, they believed a lie. And they became fools because they began worshiping the creatures rather than Creator. And that's why the American Indian, they have the totem poles. Those are their gods. And in every culture you have gods or things that are worshipped. In our culture, wealth is a god. So when we choose to, hey, there is no God, I don't care what you say, I don't care what I see, there is no God, then God says, okay, choose to live in a world without God, and basically you're separated from God.
But however, all those cultures, and even ancient ones, it's exactly what they did. They looked at the sky and they said there's a God. They looked, and they also had rules as far as what was good behavior and ill behavior. So that to some extent that would apply the idea of people seeing God out there. They all did, especially those that had what we would call a religion that at least was humane to its members.
Okay. Somebody, no, you were next. Go ahead.
You said that, I don't know his name, this guy or whatever, because he's an atheist, he must believe that there is no free will. And I disagree with that statement. I think an atheist could certainly believe in free will or not believe in free will. Science does not yet have any explanation that I know of that on a cellular or atomic level explains consciousness. That's still an unknown in the world of science. So you can believe there's no God and still believe that science the science about biology, that somehow, by an unknown scientific principle, enough brain cells working together create consciousness, and that consciousness does include such a thing as free will. So you could believe that and still not believe in God.
Okay. Well, you're saying that I'm not going to believe in God, I'm going to believe in free will, therefore I have to come up with some other metaphysical thing to believe in so that I can believe in free will.
No, it's not metaphysical any more than gravity was metaphysical before we understood what gravity
Gravity is metaphysical. You can't tell me why it's what value it is. There's no explanation to the origin of the value of gravity. Gravity is something that just is. And if it wasn't just what it is, we wouldn't be here. Okay, but your point, you understand what I'm saying?
No, the forces of gravity can be measured by all
Yeah, you can measure it, but what is the constant? Why is it 6.41 times 10 to the minus kilogram squared per, I don't remember, meter squared, something or other. Why is that number? Well, we're here because it is that number, so why is it that number? Are we in a multi-universe? I mean, is that what you believe? Look, you just invoked a metaphysical thing where you said, hey, maybe some brain cells come together and they can come up with free will. Well, that's not an explanation by science, that's an explanation by metaphysical things.
No, it isn't.
Well, do you have a material explanation to the actual origin of life, or the origin of the universe, or the origin of the natural laws, or the origin of the conscience and the forces in nature? No, there is none. You say we'll get some other scientific thing here. You're believing like Stephen Hawking is. Stephen Hawking wrote his last book, The Grand Design. And at the end of it, he says, well, I've studied this, I've gone over it. You know, the Big Bang's unsatisfying. And then he said, and I look at the universe and I say, wow, this is designed for life, that life can exist in this universe. And it's really, really not scientific that that's the case. It's arbitrary. Therefore, I've come to the conclusion there is a multiple, infinite number of universes where our universe just happens to have the right constants, but all the other ones don't, or he doesn't know what they do. But that is such a non-scientific view based on a worldview. Your worldview brings you to the idea that a materialist or an atheist can have the belief in free will by some conjured up metaphysical idea that you just gave me. I want a material explanation.
And you can't prove otherwise. I'm saying we don't
And neither
know.
can you.
Science does not know the answer.
Hey, it is preposterous. It's preposterous to think that not know free will.
Until we researched it and discovered it, but eventually they found out enough about molecules and atoms that they were able to use and develop nuclear power and atom bombs, and hydrogen bombs.
Can I come back and ask you the same question? Where did the atoms and the quantum particles come from? What's their origin?
Science does not yet claim to know what caused the Big Bang. Science does not claim to know the Big Bang. That was a great story, the Big Bang, yeah. Just like multiverses are. Somebody back here. Okay, yes, ma'am. What's your name?